Negotiating offers. Now we get to my favorite portion of the selling process, which is negotiating for the best terms possible for your home sale. But how do we ensure we're getting the best terms? How do you respond to an offer or multiple offers? What terms are most important when negotiating, and how do you make sure you get them? I love this portion of the selling process more than all the others, if you can't already tell. And in this episode of our guide to home selling in North Carolina, we're going to discuss how to negotiate offers really well. We'll be referencing some of the other content we've already discussed in this series, particularly the marketing and activation episodes, so go back and check those out if you need further clarification. But in this episode, I want to dive straight into how to work with an offer or offers we have in hand and how to ensure you're getting the best terms possible for your sale. So let's get into it. First things first, a listing agent's objective is always to get you the highest and best terms possible. But they aren't going to go against your will. You are in the driver's seat and you make every decision. I won't go into too much detail here because we've covered this subject in more detail in the past episodes of our series. But I do just want to echo that taking the data and the advice that a listing agent gives you from their experience and wisdom is invaluable in this process. If you take their advice before listing your home, then hopefully it will create the desired effect in getting offers worth negotiating. Once we have those offers though, this is where it gets fun. Once you receive an offer, the agent has to share this with the seller as soon as possible. The agent will probably ask if it's okay to disclose this offer to other offering parties. You don't have to disclose this, but it often serves to motivate other offers to bring their best terms possible. The idea is to create fear of loss, and of course it works. Suddenly it goes from a single offer to a bidding war. And then your agent may ask if it's okay to disclose that you have multiple offers in hand as well. You aren't obligated to review earlier offers over later ones. You even have a right to wait to review all the offers together later and see them all at once. But it doesn't change the listing agent's responsibility to share all offers with you immediately. When multiple offers come in, a common strategy is to call for highest and best and set a deadline for offers to be received. That encourages parties who have submitted an offer to up their terms in order to beat out any competition, and parties that haven't sent an offer in yet to get it in quickly. We find that creating a deadline actually motivates more offers rather than eliminating offers. Important to note here, buyers can be a little pushy. You may get an offer that comes in prior to setting a deadline for offers, and that buyer may ask you to make a decision by their specific deadline. If you don't meet their deadline, then technically that offer is expired and is no longer viable. If the terms are really good, then you may be motivated to sign it before the deadline ends. However, if you can see there may be more competition coming, then you may want to ask them to hold off on their deadline and see what else comes in. Most likely, if the buyer really wants it, they will stick around through your deadline to find out who the winner is. Once you have passed the deadline that you set for offers, now it's time to review the terms. We find it helpful, even if you've seen the individual offers separately, to put them all in a spreadsheet next to each other so you can compare the terms. There are quite a few terms to consider, including but not limited to the following: offer price, due diligence fee, earnest money deposit, due diligence period, closing date, personal items to convey, fixtures not to convey, financing terms, seller paid concession, seller paid warranty, rent back periods, and repair requests. There may be one offer that stands completely apart from the others, or there may be several offers that are very close in terms. Ultimately, this is completely the seller's decision. We as the agents don't get to make this choice for you, but we may advise you to do several things next. The first thing we'll recommend is to counter an individual offer. It may be the right course of action to counter one offer specifically to see if they would set themselves apart from the other offers you have in hand. A counter is basically a new set of terms that constitutes a new offer. Once both parties agree to the same terms and that agreement is conveyed back to the offering party, then you have a contract. We don't want to counter multiple offers at the same time, because then you run the risk of all of them coming back to you with a yes, and that could get really messy. Better to take them one at a time. and try to get them to match the highest terms you're looking for. The second thing we may advise is a response to all offers. We don't use this too often, but there is a form that we can use that responds to all offers at the same time, rejecting all of their terms and establishing a new set of favorable terms. This form doesn't constitute a counter, but it does effectively reject all the other terms. The risk here is if none of them want to accept the terms you've just extended, they may all walk away. We find it's better to utilize that first option typically, because then you have an option to go back to another offer with the same terms should the first offer not want to budge. The third option we may recommend is to accept the best offer at the table. Sometimes we get offers that you just can't poke any holes in. They are above and beyond what you thought you would get for your home sale. So you have every right to just accept it without countering or negotiating. When countering offers, you don't want to push too hard. We find it's best to offer something realistic in your counter that the buyer may be willing to accept. Once you've offered the counter, it isn't a done deal until they've accepted. If they counter the counter, then nothing is official until you accept it. You may want to, at this point, go to a different offering party and offer them the same initial counter you offered that first buyer. What's important here is that you are applying the leverage of having multiple offers in hand to those buyers so that they feel compelled to come your direction in order to match the terms you're extending. We've actually had amazing success in creating this competitive situation, even when you only have 2 offers at the table. What is key to understand is we aren't able to share the terms of another offer. This is called shopping for offers, and it is prohibited in North Carolina. However, the mystery of it is often an asset in and of itself, because not knowing the terms you're up against makes buyers, in most cases, present their best terms possible. Terms are completely definable by each party, and it's up to you as the seller to determine which terms are most important. If you're just looking to make top dollar, then obviously sales price is most important. But don't jump on the highest offer price without considering the due diligence fee. If it isn't as high as others, then there's a chance the buyer may come back and try to negotiate hard on concession or repairs. Sometimes it's in the seller's best interest to take a lower offer price and a higher due diligence fee. It can ensure you're getting the price you're expecting and give you plenty of leverage over the buyer to make sure you get all the way to closing with minimal concession. Also, don't sidestep financing type. This may seem like an unimportant term, but in a competitive situation, this could determine whether that offer can make it all the way to closing, regardless of what happens during the process. Even cash offers aren't always the best to accept if they don't back it up with a high due diligence fee. In other situations, terms like a flexible rent back, personal items or fixtures that you don't want to convey, or a flexible closing date may be the most important terms to the seller. It's imperative that we negotiate for these terms too. Often we'll put these terms as a suggested term in the agent remarks, so before the agent ever shows the property, they've seen what the seller wants ahead of time. I don't want to create an unreasonable expectation that your home will automatically get multiple offers in this market. It's entirely possible you may just get one offer, especially if your home isn't located in a hyper-competitive area within our market. If the home has deferred maintenance that can't be repaired before listing or a ton of cosmetic updates that need to be done, it could be a struggle just to get one offer. Also, the classic case of overpricing your listing often results in only one offer at a time. In this situation, the goal is to motivate someone to bring offer terms and then to negotiate to more favorable terms directly with this buyer. This may be a bit of a waiting game, because if this buyer knows they're not up against any competition, then they probably will be expecting to get a deal. One way to avoid the hassle of a low-ball offer price is to try to negotiate with concession. Concession is a way for sellers to offer a portion of their sale proceeds to the buyer at closing. In this market, that can be a game changer because of the high interest rates and high cost of repairs. You may have plenty of equity to spare, and this may be exactly what it takes to get a buyer to come your way. It's cash they don't have to put out and helps you get a higher offer price. We may employ many other negotiation tactics on behalf of the sellers we serve, but what I've outlined today are the basic strategies we utilize in order to successfully negotiate an offer and get you under contract. Negotiating offers is absolutely a balancing act, and you have to know when to apply the pressure and when to take the terms you've been handed. Having an experienced agent on your side in this process is extremely invaluable. So that's it for this portion of our guide to home selling in North Carolina. Next up is the final step in our selling process, which is getting to closing. We may throw a reprise of our closing time song in this last episode, so stay tuned for that gem next week. And as always, if we can help you prepare for your listing soon and offer you a free consultation, then please reach out. My information is in the description below. Have a great week, folks.